does it mean to dream beyond limits, write beyond words? If that is a question you have, welcome to episode 87 of XTraw AI, where I, the host Raghu Banda, will explore the fascinating world of AI-driven content creation with our special guest, Mr. Marcelo Andrade, the co-founder of Dreamwriter AI. In today's episode, Marcelo will help us understand how AI is transforming the field of content writing, enabling creators to produce engaging, innovative, and highly personalized content at scale. We will dive into the technologies that power Dreamwriter AI and discuss the implications of AI in the creative process of writing and also creating the content. Join us as we uncover how Dreamwriter AI's ethos of dream beyond limits, write beyond words is not just a tagline, but a reality that's shaping the future of content creation. So whether you are a salesperson, a writer, a marketer, or simply intrigued by the potential of AI in the creative industries, this episode packed with insights that will help expand your horizons. And basically, if you are in the tech sector, and if you are working on PowerPoint presentations and other things, of course, you can use a lot of these templates that are coming up where Dreamwriter AI can help you a lot. As always, you'll find more information at the end of the podcast. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the podcast. All right, welcome back to another interesting podcast conversation from XTraw AI. Today, I have a guest, Marcelo Andrade, and we are going to talk about his startup, Dreamwriter. They have a very innovative tagline: "Dream beyond your limits and write beyond words." It's an amazing tagline. I really got caught up on that. And welcome on board, Marcelo. We want to say a quick few words about your backstory, your professional story, or a personal story, and maybe a little thing about even startup, the tagline behind it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for having me, Raghu. I'm super excited to be here and to share Dreamwriter with you in the audience. Like you said, my name is Marcelo Andrade, grew up in the Bay Area, spent most of my career in financial services and then fintech, actually. So kind of a latecomer to the AI space, but had the opportunity to join a very good friend of mine, who's my co-founder, mid-year last year, to jump in and start building Dreamwriter. And so we started the business in about July of last year and have really been on a tear since then. So, my background is much more on the operations and finance side. So I come to this with a different lens, but that's enabled me to really get super excited about the whole AI industry and in particular, the marketing content creation space that we're going after. And so for me, it's really about building a fantastic business and serving our customer set, and then doing that in the awesome market that we're in. So that's a little bit about myself and my background, my own motivation. Yeah, I hope that helps set the stage.
Yep, beautiful. I really like the way you have given the background and the way you have explained. I know a lot is happening currently in the market out there with a lot of these AI advancements, and I should predominantly say that the Gen AI advancements. Any thoughts about these upcoming AI advancements, or specifically the Gen AI advancements in the current world, before we take a break and then go into Dreamwriter?
Yeah, so maybe I can just give you a quick one-liner on Dreamwriter and what we do, and that'll help give context into the answer. So Dreamwriter is the platform for marketing and sales content creation in B2B. And what we're doing is revolutionizing the whole content creation process through our platform, which amplifies your brand voice by integrating AI, leveraging best-in-class templates, and that really brings in high-performing and impactful results in your content creation process. And so while that's what we do today, where we're going is really to enable fully tailored customer experiences for every buyer, every time at scale. And so we start becoming a revenue acceleration platform. And we empower go-to-market teams to really maintain this consistent brand voice and identity throughout an entire customer journey process. And so when we think about then like how that relates back to Gen AI,
Right.
I think what we're seeing now is every company is becoming a Gen AI company. Everyone has to have some component of Gen AI in their product or service. And like I said earlier, my background is in fintech. And I think we saw that a couple of years ago with fintech, right? Every company was
Right.
becoming a fintech platform through some way, shape, or form. So at Dreamwriter, we absolutely do use Gen AI. I think it's transformational in what we do, as it is across a number of industries. But where we think it gets really exciting is this ability to incorporate a data feedback loop, integrate with various data sources. And now we're not just using the Gen AI to drive content creation or drive text content creation, which we see now all over the place, but we're really using it to build high performing content with the data. And we really become a data management solution at that point. And I think that's where it gets really exciting. So I think where we are with Gen AI is a lot of these next wave solutions similar to what we're doing. So the first wave of just creating a bunch of text, I think, has become table stakes, right? Everyone has to do it.
Right.
And so now we're at this next phase of how do we really transform that into something insightful and impactful and actionable for users.
Beautiful, beautiful. And before we take a break, I think that's a very catchy tagline that you came up with. Was it thought through, or was it like a byproduct of your innovation that you are doing?
Well, I think it really goes to the core of what we do. And so the idea behind our name, Dreamwriter, is that we can dream big and dream for great outcomes. And then writer obviously goes to our content creation piece. So the tagline about dreaming beyond limits and writing beyond words, it really goes to what we empower our customers and our users to do. So going beyond the limits of what was previously possible in terms of tailored content and really expanding into whole new spheres of capability. And so we thought quite a bit behind that in coming up with that tagline.
Definitely, it's very catchy, and I'm pretty sure your product is very catchy as well. And I briefly tested it out. Let's take a break and come back.
Sounds good.
All right, welcome back. So let's now get rolling. I would like now to get into the context of today's conversation about uh, dreaming beyond limits and writing beyond words. That is what, of course, we'll get into the conversation about Dreamwriter. I know AI is transforming, we all know that AI is transforming the enterprises and the consumer businesses in a big way. Of course, there are a lot of use cases out there. We see the stack out there, starting with if I see the 4-layer stack, starting with the bottom layer with the chips, and then on top of that, the large language models, and on top of that, all the development tools, and on top of that, you have the applications, whether it is enterprise application, consumer application, or applications like yours. So we see a lot happening here. How do you see all this AI and Gen AI transforming all these industries? And what are those few things that are those AI innovations that you might see might be interesting for you or even your work?
Yeah, it's a great question, right? And I think it's obviously very top of mind given all the media attention to AI. I think when we think about AI, especially right now, there's been just so much media coverage that it's become like this hyperbole, excuse me, of like taking over the world, right? And AI will take all of our jobs. And I think just the level of exaggeration around what will occur it has gone a little crazy. So when we take a step back and I think come back to reality for a moment, we do see it as an absolutely transformational technology and in our application, transformational software. And I think a distinction that I'll draw though with a lot of the media narrative around AI is that we see it as another tool in someone's toolbox, albeit a super powerful, very sharp sword, if you will, but nonetheless another tool in someone's toolbox rather than replacing that person entirely. And I think that's really critical for how we think about AI technologies, especially in our application. So in the B2B space, assisting business users, right? We really see the functionality as a way to empower a single person to function almost as a whole team, or to be much more productive. Or if they would have done, in our context, right, they would have created, call it 2 pieces of content in a week. Now they can create 10, and that's a pretty dramatic difference. But that's quite distinct from replacing the person entirely. And so we see it much more as this way to enhance someone's productivity, enhance what they can do, and dramatically change that output rather than reshape the entire workforce. And perhaps in the near term, this is much more relevant than longer term, like the use case could change. But that's sort of how we see the space and transforming business uses.
Beautiful, beautiful. So in this context, I would like to dive a bit more and realistically understand the typical challenges that the enterprises or the consumer businesses are facing. Maybe in your words, or maybe you can take in your words, if you can explain what are the typical challenges that are happening there. And then later on, we get into the solution part.
Yeah, so what we heard in our space, and again, B2B marketing teams, B2B sales teams, the B2B go-to-market function, what we heard from those teams was that content creation in the current environment it's broken, and the process had broken down. And the reason there is that there had been so many different team members and roles involved in the process of creating content that it was extremely difficult to maintain a consistent narrative and a consistent customer journey, and therefore consistent brand voice. And so what we heard happening, after speaking with many pre-customers and now our current customers was, my marketing team goes off and creates fantastic messaging and brand voice and a value prop, et cetera. But then that doesn't make it to market, because what ends up happening is a sales team needs that messaging now tailored for all their different use cases, right? For a specific buyer, for a specific industry, across a specific channel. And unfortunately, the manual process of creating that and creating such tailored content just breaks down. And so what ends up happening is the message that goes to market is not the message that the marketing team spent so much time, effort, and care cultivating and creating. And so we just saw this breakdown, right? And so that was the big problem that we were really attacking. And of course, long-term in that problem is that the organization can't close sales and can't generate the revenue that they want. And so Dreamwriter was really born out of this problem and to solve this use case that we heard about so clearly from our customer base.
Beautiful. So I would like to now go into this aspect of taking an example, maybe. We don't need to share any confidential information or the customer information, but how would a typical example look like? Meaning, you say that, okay, the marketing teams are working on a lot of these contents and creating the content. So are you limited to any kind of content, or can you also go ahead and maybe starting with PowerPoints and Word documents and PDFs, because those are the ones typically it takes a lot of time when we are preparing this information, even as a product managers, when we work, or when the solution marketing folks or the product marketing folks. Any few words that you would like to explain in the context of taking an example, maybe might make easier way to understand the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. So we think about this question in terms of a sales funnel. And so to help contextualize it, we see Dreamwriter really winning and executing in the mid part of the funnel. We think there are probably other tools that are really going to excel at the top of the funnel. But where we come in is we can really help a team create digital content assets. And when we say digital content assets, we're talking about website landing pages, blogs, newsletters, email, copy, long form content. It might be a value prop deck. It might be a use case, a case study type one pager, a white paper, an ebook. So with these pieces of content, they sit right in the middle of the funnel, right? It's like in that discovery, then content capture, nurturing phases of the funnel, and then ultimately pieces of sales collateral. And so we think here is the piece that really will leverage the brand voice and the tone of voice and the syntax and the context in which our brand plays. And so Dreamwriter is really built to execute on that mid stage of the funnel. In particular, like the way this works is if you want to write a blog post, let's say for your podcast, you want to do it in your brand voice and the way you've been talking to people and the way you've been answering questions and speaking about the podcast. And so rather than just using a generic AI engine to produce a bunch of generic texts, which we're seeing a lot of today, right? There's an overwhelming quantity of just generic text that doesn't land with your audience typically because it's so generic, it's so vague. And so you want to be able to produce a blog that's really on message, on brand, and ultimately SEO optimized in that context. So Dreamwriter enables you to do that. And this is a challenge we've heard, right? Is like, I have my brand, I want to create a blog, I want to create a newsletter, I need a new email campaign. And so Dreamwriter enables someone to do that in a very unique, tailored, customized way. And so not only do I write a blog post, but I can write it for, a VP of marketing in the healthcare sector in Western Europe, whatever the really specific use case is. And then I can tailor the context to my buyer. And so that's what was missing in today's market that we think we can really go solve.
So you will be focusing on doing some kind of role-based content creation and a persona-based content creation, which is where you define a set of roles or a different set of personas and create, and you can have a set of templates out there, and the customers would, or the end users would pick up one of these templates and then create this content. Is it that is the way, or that is the approach that you're talking about? Meaning you can create as many number of templates and then pick up one of these template and you want to.
Yeah. So totally. No, it's a great question. Think about it this way. It's like you define your brand voice, and that becomes your foundation for every piece of content which we'll create. And then from there, your next step is to choose which type of content you want to create. So do you want to create a blog, a newsletter, an email, a long form piece of content? And then your point on templates is a really good one, right? So within an email, there could be variations there, right? I want to create an educational email. I want to create a sales email. I want to create a really conversion focused email, whatever those templates may be. And that's where we see a lot of customization. And so now you're writing an educational email using your brand voice. That's a much more tailored application, a much more customized use case than going to a big LLM out there and saying, write me a great email. And so the next step then, to your point, is to really customize the message to not only for the purpose, but to the audience. And great, now I'm writing for the CMO in Western Europe, for example. Does that help?
Yes, that does help get this thing. So
yeah.
Internally, it doesn't matter which LLM you might use, but you might be using different LLMs. But for the end user, they do not need to get into these aspects of, hey, do I need to use this LLM or do I need to go there? But I just go to Dreamwriter and then pick up some of these templates or create the templates, configure the template, and then run it.
Yeah, exactly. So for the end user, which LLM we were relying on at that time becomes a non-issue, right? From their perspective, it's seamless, and that integration is seamless. For us on the back end, we're really creating this infrastructure to be able to use whatever the best-in-class LLM is at that time for that use case to develop the right type of content. And so today, I think we're seeing LLMs proliferate in terms of their widespread usability and like use case for every use case, right? You can use many of them for almost anything. We may see in the future some specialization in terms of certain LLMs being really great at different functions or different types of content creation. And so as that occurs, our platform can seamlessly integrate and switch between them to use the best-in-class model at the time.
Beautiful, beautiful. So this is where I think it gets tricky. I know when you talk about creating blogs or writing articles, it's, I wouldn't say easier, but it's little easier to handle this task than rather than creating a PowerPoint slide or some document, a Word document, because this is where in a PowerPoint slide, each enterprise firm or the consumer firm, they might have their own templates. And now they work with Dreamwriter. There might be a situation that they will have to intermingle between these different templates. Do you want to talk a bit about it, or is that still in process? Meaning, when you talk about creating PowerPoints or creating creative PowerPoints, because that is where a lot of product managers with whom I deal on a daily basis, product managers or product marketing people, you end up creating a lot of slides, but then you will think that, hey, this is not that great. I want to create something different. I want to make it a little more. You get to a stage where the content might be the same, but the way you present that goes in the slide changes over a period of time. Do you want to talk a bit about that? How you guys handle it?
Sure. So let me make sure I follow the question well. So you're saying like, if someone already has a template structure that they're using, how can they continue to benefit from Dreamwriter in the context of creating custom slides and custom pieces of presentations?
Right.
Cool. Great. Yeah. So we've attacked this in a number of different ways. I mean, the first is being really specific on our use case. And we think that the use case for Dreamwriter is really for marketing and sales teams. So once you get down to your quarterly business review deck, we may not be the best resource for that because of like the level of detail that you're going to want to put in there, very specific to your application. May not be the best use case, but for other like sales focused use cases of preparing slides, what we're seeing a lot of and seeing folks have a lot of success with is our engine produces a standard piece of content today, and that's, call it a multi-page slide presentation. And what we've built in are features to really edit and customize that slide deck to allow you to really tailor it to exactly how you want. And so this goes back to this earlier point about like AI probably not replacing people in the near term, but empowering them to be more effective and using a sharper tool, if you will. And so what our platform allows someone to do is from the first draft of content that they receive to go customize it. And you can add slides using Dreamy as our personified AI. So Dreamy will help you create the experience. Dreamy can add slides in the context of what else is in there. You can customize those slides with Dreamy to produce, a title with text or a title with text and image. And we've got about 25 different templates you can use in there to create new slide use cases and really customize that deck you're building. So that's how we've seen folks use it today. I mean, there are many other applications here and ways to build it out more, but that's how we're seeing it really leveraged today.
Beautiful. So I like the aspect when you talked about you give a starting point, a draft kind of a skeleton deck with a few little things in the slides, and then you can get started, and then you can build your slide content, and Dreamy will keep note of all this, and it will learn over a period of time. Maybe you can save it in the Dreamy's repository, if I may say.
Yeah, you're hitting the nail on the head here. That's exactly how it works. So your first output is essentially a rough draft. And what we hear from teams today is that the ability to produce this rough draft is taking them about a week. And so it probably doesn't take someone 40 hours of work. But the process of you telling me to go build this first draft and I come back to you and we look at it together, like that whole back and forth is taking teams about a week. And so with Dreamwriter, you can do that process now in a matter of minutes. And so that's a dramatic acceleration in the go-to-market timeline for a team. And so that's kind of part one, right? We produce the rough draft. Then we allow you to really edit it and customize it in the tool, in the platform. And then to your last point is on collaboration and workspace functionality. It's a great one and something we've thought a lot about because of some of our core customers. But we have a feature to allow you to create specific workspaces. So I could create a workspace for Marcelo or a workspace for Raghu or a workspace for Marcelo and Raghu. And then we could create specific content in each one of those that the other one didn't see. And so that enables me to work on a bunch of different projects. If I'm a marketing agency as a use case, I can service a number of different clients there, having unique workspaces for each client. Or just on a more simple tactical level, right? I can organize my work in that way. We also built in real-time collaboration, so you and I can work together on a piece of collateral. And then ultimately, we heard from customers that it was really key to be able to, export their piece of content. So ultimately, you can export from Dreamwriter into a PDF or into PowerPoint if you want to continue to refine in there. But yeah, I would really say those are three key features that you highlighted, right? It's like focus on a rough draft quickly, enable the user to edit and tweak, and then finally enable collaboration and workspace features.
Beautiful. I think those are the most important things when you get started on creating a quick deck or a quick presentation or doing some kind of an executive thing. I think the first three steps are the very key important aspects. And I believe you're not limited to text, but you do both text and image as well, right? Like in many of creating slides or any restrictions.
Yeah, so in our output, you get text and images, exactly. And so you can customize those images by bringing in an image you have already. You can link to a URL or a landing page that you have to use an image, or you can use our search feature to search for. We have over 5 million royalty-free images that you can access. So that works pretty well on the image side, and on the text side, right? You create the text, and then once you have your draft, you can use Dreamy to enhance, improve, rewrite text, as we're seeing a lot of LLMs capable of doing today. Yeah.
And your end users basically are not only just big enterprises, but also small enterprises or individual. You might have. Do you want to talk a bit about your the end user space that uses the actual?
Absolutely, yeah. It's a great question, and it kind of links back to earlier experiences I've had personally in my career. But where we're really seeing a lot of traction early on is with small to medium-sized enterprises. And so I spent a lot of time in this space in a past life on the fintech side, working with small businesses, helping them get financing. But what was very evident there and carries over here very clearly is on the need for help. Typically, what you find is one of these small businesses, again, these are B2B businesses, typically providing a high value service. So think like a recruiting firm, a diligence provider, some other type of professional service, a marketing agency, a PR agency. What you find in these businesses typically is a person or a team that's very good at executing their craft and their profession. They might not be good at, and they probably aren't resourced to go do all the other business functions, right? Marketing, sales, finance, HR, et cetera, et cetera. And so it's not a knock on that expert or professional by any means, right? They're absolutely an expert in their craft. So what we're finding is a lot of uptake from that user profile early on for just helping creating marketing content. And the business knows that they need to go out to market with more content, be that a better newsletter or blog on their website, be that better email marketing or email campaigns. It could be enhancing a monthly or quarterly newsletter that they're already sending out, but they know they need to do more of it. And today they're not able to do it at the scale that they want. And so they might have tried some of the free LLM tools out there, and what they get back is, generic kind of vague text that really doesn't speak to them or their customer base. And so they're using Dreamwriter quickly and easily to produce quite a lot of content. And we're seeing a lot of uptick from that customer profile early on. And they're using Dreamwriter to do gated content, for example, to create a flyer ahead of a webinar that builds a customer list. They're using it even the version today they're using to create social posts, maybe LinkedIn posts, and they're using it to create email campaigns. So we're seeing quite a lot of usage out of this, call it small to medium size enterprise focused on a high value service B2B segment. Yeah, that's just one piece of our customer profile early on. I mean, we're expanding a lot, but that's where we're seeing some pretty cool use cases now.
Right. I think that, and that is a segment where it is tough for the small to medium enterprises to have a huge army of people who can help do a lot of these stuff. So at least they can kind of get this done with whatever resources they have, which Dreamy can help them get at a faster pace. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I feel the pain in that, time is a precious resource, and typically it's one person who's doing these activities, and they're super time constrained. And so they can go out and spend a lot of money to have it done for them, or they can try and do it themselves. And we're excited that Dreamwriter really empowers them to create this premium content in their brand voice. And it's a cool thing to see. And we're really happy to be a part of that.
Right. And currently you guys are available globally, or are you focused mainly on North America, Europe? And also a follow-up question on that, are you available as a SaaS solution, or are you also provide options to integrate directly into other products? Maybe any thoughts around that?
Yeah, so we're available worldwide today. Most of our users are US and Europe. We have smaller proportions from Asia Pac. But we're seeing a lot of usage throughout those geographies. I'm sorry, tell me the other part of that question.
The other question is that how are you how is this product available? Is it available as a service, as a SaaS service, or is it also available as an integration tool if somebody wants to take this and integrate into their product?
Great. Yeah, so we're available today as a SaaS service. So you can go to dreamwriter.ai, create an account. You can play around with the free version. We have a paid version, the Pro plan, which right now is really affordable. It's $12 per month as we launch that. The price will go up, so get in now. But for now, it's set up as a SaaS subscription. Where we'd like to go longer term is absolutely to integrate in a variety of different ways. I think that's still in the works, and I'll leave some mystery around it, but that's certainly the idea of where we want to go, is the ability to integrate with other business process tools and efficiency tools, such that you have this content at your fingertips automatically, rather than you even having to do anything to create it. And so when we think about some of those future use cases, that's also where we get extremely excited. And some of that, the tagline you mentioned really starts to come into play, to dream bigger and dream beyond limits. So that's where we get super excited.
And I'm pretty sure, I think you will get a lot of opportunities to get in those kind of deals, because this is where you have many of these big players out there which might also want to utilize Dreamy as a service and kind of integrate into some of their products. And I believe you are not only focused on a particular sector, but you are also cut across different sectors. Any thoughts around that? Meaning, because when you are working, I know we talk mostly about the tech sector, but are you kind of restricted to any particular sector, or are you also kind of trying to go across the horizon? Because I think there are things around both pros and cons around that.
Yeah, so we see ourselves as the vertical solution for B2B
Mhm.
marketing and sales teams. And so we are laser focused on that B2B sector, specifically
Okay.
B2B tech. And then, as I mentioned before, we're seeing a lot of traction with B2B SMBs. So small to medium-sized enterprises working in professional services. So we're pretty laser focused on that. And the reason there is we think we can really have a distinct advantage in building functionality for that customer base. And we are very in tune with those customers, and we know them well. And so my co-founder, Evan James, is a B2B marketing expert. He's been in that industry, over a decade, and so really knows it inside and out. And so a lot of this solution comes from his own pain, having done it. And so we feel we've got like a really unique expertise area in the B2B space, and we can go vertically. And so a lot of what we're trying to do is really empower this B2B go-to-market team to be more powerful, to be more efficient, and ultimately more productive and drive better outcomes. And so our goal now is to expand vertically in terms of functionality for this customer base and customer segment, rather than try and expand horizontally into other use cases.
Beautiful. Amazing. I like
That very well could change in the future. Don't hold me to that.
Yeah, but this is a good
that-
starting point.
Yeah, that's where we see ourselves going today.
And now I come to the most important question, or the interesting question about our podcast. What is that one differentiation factor? I know there will be, or there is a lot of competition out there, or there will be competition. But how do you differentiate yourself, or what is the uniqueness? Maybe in one word or one sentence or one phrase, and how do you kind of differentiate yourself, or the extra AI factor?
It's a great question, right? And there certainly is and will be competition in this space, as we talked about at the outset. Every company is becoming a Gen AI company, and it's certainly super hot. But we have quite a unique take on what we're doing. And the ways that we're pretty distinct and differentiated from what else is out there is our ability to produce not only text content, but designed text content. And so there are other platforms that are doing, and I'll call them kind of the first wave of AI tools, produce a lot of text content, and some of them are even doing on-brand text content. But what we don't see a lot of is on-brand text and designed assets. So a fully designed piece of collateral that's ready to go to market. And without the designed piece, you're left kind of copying and pasting into various other solutions. So it gets really cumbersome and manual, and we're not that compelled by those solutions anymore. And so what we offer is both content generation, designed assets, and then what we're working on right now, which is really exciting, is this data in the loop infrastructure. And so if we can link back to your marketing data or your revenue intelligence data and build that into the platform as an input into the content creation, now you start to get something really different that doesn't exist today at all. And that's content creation that's both on-brand, designed, and performant, because it's informed by data. And so when we can do that, we think we'll absolutely be game changing.
Beautiful, beautiful. I like the aspect of the text plus design context. I think that is design content, which is going to be really a game changer. I think now coming to the end of the podcast, I believe I know it's a very interesting conversation. What are I know the technology is changing so fast, innovations are happening at a faster pace. So, in the context of what all is happening around, what are those new AI innovations, or what kind of Gen AI innovations or AI innovations you foresee happening might be interesting for your company or for yourself? Any thoughts or
Yeah, I
takes
mean,
on-
look, I wish I had a crystal ball here, because it's moving quickly. A few points though that stick out for me in the space. So the first is something we kind of touched on earlier, but it's around specification and LLMs. I think that's that's probably going to happen. In that we'll see some of the large LLMs probably continue to have a kind of like one size fits all model, certainly as a free version. But then I think we'll start to see some really intense specification in models. So either attacking a certain use case or industry, what have you. So that has yet to really broadly occur, and I think we'll probably see that. So specialization in LLMs. I think what's not clear yet is LLM architecture. So how will the business models get set up relative to LLMs, and how will companies either integrate with, sit on top of, ability to customize using LLMs? I think that remains to be seen. What I see now is a lot of desire to use all of them and any of them. That may change. There may be a point where some of the large LLMs essentially offer the same thing at the same price, and then it reduces the need to differentiate or to switch between them. That will be interesting to see how that unfolds. I don't know that again, I wish I had a crystal ball there.
Yeah, I know.
And I think the last piece is around image and video. I think what OpenAI released with Sora a few month back is pretty wild, right? The ability to get these video clips that are very high quality. That could be a game changer. And I'm not sure, that it gets built into a platform like ours. It's sort of distinct and different. But I think that starts to change the landscape for a lot of other services out there.
Right. Image, video, and maybe audio to some extent as well.
Absolutely. I hope it doesn't put podcasts out of business.
Yes, that's true. Because there's a lot happening on there. Yeah. Beautiful. So I know we are coming to the close of our conversation, at the end of the conversation. We definitely want you to get back sometime very soon once you guys hit that big mark. And then, so before the end of closing the conversation, any key insights or takeaways or things that you would like to or shout out to the audience?
Yeah, maybe I'll leave you with this. Here, a thought is like we've hit on this quite a bit, but the way we view AI tools today, I think, is critical. And again, I really see it as a way to dramatically enhance and superpower an individual rather than replace that individual. And I think it's a really key position to take and stance to absorb. Like that seems to resonate with most people when you talk about it. And it gets lost in the broad media narrative of what's going on. But from what I've seen so far, from what I envision happening, I think that's one of my huge personal takeaways, right? Is like it's not that AI will replace you per se. It's that, someone that is using AI better than you probably will replace you. And so it kind of brings us back to reality from some of these big headlines, but ultimately it's really exciting. And I think it is a new frontier. It is an amazing new technology. And the way it enables us to be more powerful and efficient and productive is super cool in how we think about our day-to-day work lives.
Good. And you're available at Dreamwriter.ai, right? I think to get more information.
Absolutely. Check us out, Dreamwriter.ai. Would be happy to chat with anyone. You can find me on LinkedIn, Marcelo Andrade Perino. But really look forward to engaging with the community. And Raghu, thanks so much for having me on. It's been a pleasure to chat with you, and so glad we got to do this.
Beautiful. Amazing. Great insights and great product out there. Thank you for that.
Thanks so much.
So as we wrap up a truly inspiring episode 87 of Extra AI, we first would like to extend our deepest thanks to Marcelo Andrade, the co-founder of Dreamwriter AI, for joining us today. Marcelo's insights into AI-driven content creation have not only enlightened us, but also expanded our thinking about the possibilities within the realm of writing and creativity. A big thank you to you all as well, to you all audience as well, for your enthusiasm and engagement. Your curiosity fuels our exploration of these cutting edge topics, and your participation makes our discussions all the more meaningful. If you have any further questions, I will be tagging the LinkedIn post with Marcelo. So if you have any further questions, you can directly reach out to Mr. Marcelo. Alternatively, you can reach out to me, Raghu Banda, on my LinkedIn profile, and I can put you in touch with Mr. Marcelo. You can also reach out to me on my other social media handles, like the Twitter handle or the X handle, Banda. You can also go into our website, xtraai.com, xtrawai.com, and you will find humongous amount of other interesting episodes in the realm of AI. And keep sending that interesting feedback our way so that we can get more interesting conversations. And looking ahead, make sure to stay glued to XTraw AI for more exciting episodes. We'll be delving into many more interesting topics like securable APIs with AI and examining how AI can be force of good, and many other podcasts are lined up. These are some of the examples among the others that are lined up. These upcoming episodes are going to be very enlightening and thought-provoking as ever. And one final word, if you haven't subscribed to our XTraw AI podcast yet, now is the time to do so. By subscribing, you will ensure that you will never miss out on our deep dives into the fascinating world of AI and its impact across different sectors. Thank you once again for joining us today, and we look forward to having you with us for more insightful and engaging episodes of XTraw AI. Until next time, have a good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're tuning in from. Happy predicting the future with AI technologies. This is your host, Raghu Banda, signing off. Thank you and bye-bye.